The news you count on. Gulf Coast News at 7 on ABC.
You're looking live at the Kennedy Space Center as we are just minutes away from the Crew 10 launch. Thank you for watching your Gulf Coast News at 7. I'm Megan Miller here with meteorologist Rob Duns. In just a few minutes, astronauts Ann McClain and Nicole Ayers, along with mission specialists, will launch aboard a Spacex Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon spacecraft. Their launch is set for 7:03 p.m. This is the mission to bring Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams home from the International Space Station. Their 10-day mission to the ISS last June has now lasted 9 months, a lot longer than planned. The most recent delay happened just this week when the launch was scrubbed due to a hydraulics issue with the arm clamp that holds the rocket.
Hey, for awareness, team needs a couple more minutes here, wrapping up this hydraulics issue. At this time, we are standing down from today to further address hydraulic release data.
Now, this plays a critical role in the pre-launch process. The clamp arms secure the rocket in place until the exact moment of liftoff. If they fail, the rocket is at risk of a tip-over or misalignment before launch. But it's not just the rocket that needs to be working properly. The weather plays a big factor too, Rob.
That is the case. And by the way, Megan, that screen over to the left of you has the countdown clock. And if you wouldn't mind just keeping an eye on that, because we want to make sure you see the good stuff here. But the weather forecast is really working out there near the Cape Canaveral area. There's one little shower about 50 miles or so over the Atlantic, but doesn't look like that's going to be too much of an issue. As you can see, the satellite cover is nice and clear here across this part of the Space Coast. And by the way, once this rocket does launch from Cape Canaveral, go outdoors and take a look. If you look off toward the northeast, oftentimes you can see these rocket launches as this one is headed toward the International Space Station. Looks like the countdown clock now is down to 2 minutes or dead on. And by the way, since we're talking about this, Megan, the feed earlier tonight, if we want to come back out to camera 7 or take the live feed full, the International Space Stations are roughly the size of a football field. And we sometimes think of it being as super far away. It's only about 254 miles away from the Earth, but it's moving at close to 18,000 miles per hour. So once these rockets take off, the capsule has to almost catch up to the ISS for the astronauts to be able to board it there from the rocket.
Really interesting and so cool that this is happening right now during our show. We want to listen in, give you a live look at what's happening there.
I believe the countdown now is at 1 minute and 23 seconds to go here. If we have some net sound, that'd be great to listen in. What's going on there on the ground in Cape Canaveral? So as the rocket eventually takes off here, headed toward the ISS, I mentioned before how fast it's moving. It actually is able to orbit the Earth every 90 minutes. So in the course of a 24-hour period, the folks on the International Space Station would see up to 16 sunrises and sunsets, which is really quite mind-blowing. So for the two astronauts that are up there for that much longer period of time than they had expected, have really had quite the experience over the past couple of months.
Absolutely. Let's see if we can hear anything again there.
Looks like the countdown clock is down to 40 seconds, so we should hear some countdowns here from the crew there on the rocket and those who are launching it from the Space Coast here.
T-minus 30 seconds.
T-minus 30 seconds. So why don't we just watch this together live and take in the sights and sound together live here on Gulf Coast News at 7 o'clock. A really incredible thing happening just up the road, if you will, in the Cape Canaveral area.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot has to go
T-minus 15.
Exactly right for these to happen. T-minus 15, all right.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and lift off. Go SpaceX, go NASA Crew 10.
Wow. There we go. We've got our launch happening now.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
So as the rocket starts to rise there from Cape Canaveral again, in the next minute or so, start poking your head out the window and look toward the northeast, as oftentimes we can see these rocket launches from Cape Canaveral here where we are here in the southwest coast of the peninsula.
Yeah, and as you take that in, feel free to take any pictures, videos, send them our way. We love seeing what you're seeing at home, but absolutely incredible to be seeing this live with you here on Gulf Coast News as that rocket launches to recover those two astronauts, Butch and Suni, who have been at the ISS a lot longer than they planned. That mission for them was supposed to last a little over a week, but they've been there 9 months now. So this is a recovery mission to go and bring them home. Oh, this is just so awesome to see. You see that rocket heading to space now.
Max Q.
They're expected to dock Saturday, so we wish them all the best as that mission Blast
Vehicle
off, it was
supersonic.
scrubbed Wednesday, as we know, just about 30 minutes before it was set to lift off. So happy to see it taking off tonight. They were able to fix those issues that they were working on. Glad that, of course, they have safety as a top priority every time. We want to make sure everyone is safe on board. Here they go.
And what makes the Spacex so cool, of course, is how they can reuse so much of this, so that the parts that are sending it up here eventually going to land back on land in Cape Canaveral, so they can reuse those. And that's one of the things that makes this Spacex more financially feasible, because it's not just a one-and-done thing as previous space missions have been. We can reuse some of these things and make spaceflight a bit more affordable, you know, all things considered.
Right, just incredible advancements there. And I'm sure that crew is ready to come home. Their family's ready to see them. They've been super positive during this extended trip. Rob, as you said the other day, hopefully they packed extra socks, but I'm sure, you know, you plan for all sorts of things on missions like this, but quite the extension there for them. But
And by the way, Megan, I believe I heard earlier today from the report that once the astronauts who are on the International Space Station, once they start make their way home, the splashdown, I believe, is in the Atlantic, just off the east coast of Florida. Once they finally do make their way back here to the planet Earth after that extended tour on the International Space Station.
Copy, 2 Alpha.
wow, again, if you're just now joining us, we are taking a live look at a launch happening right now to recover 2 astronauts who have been at the ISS. This SpaceX mission in collaboration with NASA happening right now during our 7 o'clock newscast. So really cool to see that happening live. See if we can listen in and hear anything else going on there. We heard them preparing up until this moment, testing everything, making sure everything was a go, and that launch went off at 7:03 as planned for tonight, seemingly without a hitch. So really glad to see that happening now, and I'm sure they'll have an incredible view of Earth not too long from now from space. All right, I think we're going to continue now with some local news happening in our area, but we'll give you any updates on that mission as we get them.